welcome back. Today we are going to learn about the load balancer. Okay, so we will talk about what is load balancer and what are the load balancer that Google offers to their customers. Okay, so before I deep dive into the load balancer, we just need to understand what is load balancer in general, right? So a load balancer is a device. It can be a device or it can be a software that distributes the incoming traffic across the multiple backend servers or multiple web servers, right? So this helps to improve the performance, reliability, and scalability. So load balancer can also be used to improve the security by hiding the identity of the backend server, right? So if you have a web server, let's say if you have a web server and you directly expose this to the internet, then what happened that if the traffic increase, your web server will go down. That's why we introduce, we use load balancer, and behind the load balancer we can have hundreds of web servers, right? So that when the traffic increase, the load balancer distribute the traffics amongst those backend service, right? So there are generally there are two types of load balancer in any cloud or in any in general. The first is layer 4 load balancer, which distribute the traffic based on the transport layer, and the second is layer 7 load balancer, which distribute the traffic based on the application layer protocol such as http or https. So Google Cloud load balancers are of three types. The first one is application load balancer, which is a layer 7 load balancer that handles the distribution of HTTP and HTTPS traffic to the backend instance, right? And network load balancer is a layer 4 load balancer that distribute the traffic on TCP or UDP, right, to the backend instance. And then you have the network load balancer on UDP, which is only works on the layer 4 for the UDP, right? So in this video, we will see the demo of application load balancer. So application load balancer, when we talk about the load balancer types here, so it could be a internet facing or it could be an internal. Similarly, for network load balancer, it could be an internal, the internet facing or internal. Same for the UDP. So application load balancer is a layer 7 load balancer, and it works on HTTP and HTTPS, and it is a proxy based load balancer. Means if the traffic is coming to your application load balancer, the session will be terminated here, and the new session will be initiate from the load balancer to your backend service. That is what we call proxy. The best use case for application load balancer are web application, mobile app, and they are your CDNs sort of applications. And network load balancer is something that is works on layer 4 load balancer, and it is a pass-through load balancer, which means it is not a proxy. Means whatever traffic that is coming to your load balancer, it is as it is forwarded to your backend service. So there is no traffic termination is happening here, right? So if you want your network load balancer proxy password, you can go with SSL proxy and TCP proxy. The use case of this network load balancer could be a gaming server or streaming server or database server, right? And for UDP server, we will talk about this later. But in this video, I'm going to just focus on application load balancer. So if you just see this diagram, this is um, the application load balancer. So again, application load balancer are of many types. If I'm talking about the external load balancer, it could be a global. It could be if I show you my screen. So if you choose this, so here I'm into the load balancing. You can see you can create all three of types of load balancer, but I'm going to focus on this application load balancer. So here you can see that this is a layer 7 load balancing, and the options are internet facing or internal, or single or multi-regional. If you click on start configuration, it will ask like what do you want to deploy, global, external, classic, or regional. So I will talk about classic and regional later, but global external application load balancer is something that is globally reachable, right? So in global application load balancer, basically in any load balancer of application load balancer, you can see that there is something called forwarding rule and there is something called backend service, right? So when the traffic is coming, 1 second, let me explain this first. So what is forwarding rule? This forwarding rule is basically route the traffic by the IP address, right? So whatever external IP has are assigned here, and so forwarding rule route the traffic by IP address, port, and protocol to the load balancing configuration consisting of your target proxy and the URL map and one or more backend service. Now each forwarding rule provides a single IP address that can be used in the DNS record, right? So whatever IP that is assigned here, you can use as a DNS for your application, right? And the forwarding rule for an HTTP load balancer can reference on port 80, and if it is HTTPS, you can reference TCP port 443. Now, what is target proxy? Target proxy terminate HTTPS or HTTP connection from the client, and one or more forwarding rule direct the traffic to the target proxy, and the target proxy consult with the URL map to determine how to route the traffic to the backend service side, right? So here you also create your SSL certificates global, right? So whenever the traffic is coming from the internet, it will first head to the forwarding rule. The forwarding rule will decide whether it is HTTP or HTTPS traffic, and based on that, the proxy this HTTPS proxy will consult with the URL map and decide like which backend service is this traffic is intended to use for, right? And then the backend service will target to the this backend. Now the backend could be your instance group, like the instance group can be unmanaged or managed instance group. Obviously, there is some firewall rules, so we'll see that. All right, so I want to deploy an application load balancer. So let me jump onto my Google Cloud Console. So here I'm going to deploy the application load balancer. But before you deploy the application load balancer, you need to have your web servers or backend service ready, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the VM instance. Just a second. And yes, one more thing I forgot to tell you, like you can go ahead and explore their document, Google Cloud official document, and you will see that on this external application load balancer overview and the how many types. I mean, there are you can configure your external application load balancer in the following mode. So we are now focusing on global external application load balancer. So this classic load application load balancer is rarely used, so I don't know if it's going to deprecate or not, but I don't see classic application load balancer much in the real world. What I see that the global external application load balancer most of the time, and regional external application load balancer, this is again depend on your use case, right? So, and there are a lot of informations are here, so you can go through it. I would highly recommend that you refer this document. I'm going to put this link in the YouTube video descriptions. Okay. All right. So get back to my console. So I'm going to create the instance. I'm going to make it web one. Let's make it in Delhi region. Let's make it small. Come to networking. Here I already have a VPC one created. So I'm going to select my custom VPC, and here I have this already have a subnets. So right now I want to have this public IP attached just for the testing, okay? But in the real world, you don't attach this public IP directly to the web server. Since this is a demo, that is fine. Okay, everything is fine. Now create. Oh, one more thing. I have to deploy this script. So give me a second. Where is my script? Yeah, me. So this is my Apache web server script. Basically, this script will execute at the time of bootstrapping. Okay, so this script is doing nothing. It is basically installing the Apache 2 and then some HTML files. Okay, just create it. Okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm also creating. Let's create one more instance, web 2, and this time I'm gonna deploy in your central. And here uh, I already have subnets, so don't worry about that. VPC 1, subnet 2, and again just copy this, copy the same script. Maybe here I'll put something other script maybe so that we will um, know, right, like how the load balancings are working. So here I'm using 1 second. Okay, no, this is something else. Okay, so I'm gonna create it. Oh, let's do one thing. Let's make the same script. I think the script will work. It is fetching the IP of the VM. So sorry, I'm putting in wrong way. I have to put it here. Startup script. So my first VM is done. Let's try to access. Yeah, you can see that it is there. This is the public IP, right? 145. Oh, sorry, 146. And this host name and all this random page. Okay, so my web 1 is and web 2 is deployed in two different regions. You can see that, right? So if you try to access web 2, okay, it's gonna take some time. Yeah, you can see that, right? So yeah, you can see that now. It's coming from 145. Oh, second. 145. Let me try to access it again. This is web 2. Okay, I think, oh, this is my address. Sorry, I was getting confused. Okay, now we are all set. Okay, so now we have these two servers deployed. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an instance group. So instance group is nothing. Instance group is a collection of instance which you are making it into the group. So when you create the instance group, You can create the instance group of three types: stateless, stateful, and unmanaged. Stateless and stateful, I will discuss this later, but let's focus on the unmanaged instance group where you can manually manage the groups of the load balancing VM. So I'm going to make it uh, IGs, I, IGs or my IGs, something like that. And here you need to create a two instance group basically. One is for Delhi region and one is for and uh, central location. Okay. So 1 second, let me see my VM instance because this is a journal, right? You, I mean, you need to select the region and then where is your VM. So say, so you have to see your web one is in Asia South 2A. So you need to select Asia South 2A. The network is going to be VPC 1 and the subnet is going to be subnet 1 and the VM is your web 1. Here add the port mapping so that this port mapping the backend service will get to know where to forward the traffic. All right, cool, right? So far so good. Let's create it. I'm going to create one more instance. I will write it my IGs one and sorry here I need to select this and then go to where is central. Oh, I'm already in central. Where is my VM? US Central 1A, network VPC 1. Select the subnet, select the VM. Okay, add the port, the port 80. I should name it something like UCENTRS Central, something like that. I'm done. So my first IG, oh, okay, I should named it with some name reason. My IG is Delhi. Okay, no worries. Just assume that this is okay. This first instance group is for Delhi, and the second instance group is for Central. Okay, now both the instance group has got this instance. Group type is unmanaged, and the zone you can see that right now. Now I have the instance groups already. Now the third step is we are going to create a load balancer. So go to your network service. This is a network service. Okay, I'm going to create a load balancer. So I'm going to create an external load balancer from internet to my VMs. Select the global one. Now here you need to provide some name. I'll still say my GLB global load balancer, and you're gonna name it some name. I'll say it front end, right? And it is going to be HTTP, and then it gets some public IP ephemeral on the backend. This is very important. Here you create the backend service. So you name it like my backend service. And here you are going to attach the backend type could be of instance group and many types. So I'm going to select the instance group and the name port is going to be HTTP and the instance group is first is uh, the Delhi region instance group. Click done. Then you're going to add one more instance group which is now central. Click done. I don't need CDN. So health check is required because a health check is something that continues to check that the Google systems continues to check your backend service. If any of your VM under instance group, let's say unhealthy, then the load balancer will not send the traffic to the unhealthy web servers. So health check is very important, right? So this is the criteria. I mean, sorry, criteria that how the the health check, and like at what interval it is going to you know check what is the healthy threshold and how many unhealthy threshold. So additionally, you can click on the logs, but I don't want so because it is going to be a huge. So everything is fine. You can enable the logging, you can enable the security, but I don't want to get into this. Just make it simple load balancer. Now my backend is okay. My routing rule, so I have no routing rule are defined. This is the default routing rule. It says that the traffic is coming, it will directly hit to the my backend service. I'll talk about this rule later in the upcoming videos. So review and finalize your load balancer settings. So here is your front end, right? After it is created, you'll get some public IP here, and and this is your backend service, right? This is your backend instance group, right? So it it gonna take some time. So till the time I'm gonna pause, stop my recording, and then I'll come back once this is complete. All right. So my load balancer has been completed. You can see that it's showing the backend server is showing healthy. So let's click on my load balancer. So here you can see in my front end, the front end has got this public IP, and this is a public IP and the Anycast IP. Remember that global load balancer always use the Anycast IP. I'll tell you what is Anycast IP later. And then it has a backend service. The backend service has has two backends as an instance group, and the health check is healthy, right? So now if you try to access this this IP, you should be having some page. Okay, now you can see that my page is serving from web 1, right? And the server location is Asia South 2A. Try to hit this. Try to hit this. Hit this IP. You always be getting your page. Your page is getting served from web 1 only, right? And why it is serving from? Why it is not serving from web 2? The reason why it is not serving with Web 2 because I am sitting in India, I am sitting in Delhi NCR, and I'm trying to hit this load balancer from the same reason. And Asia South to A is a closest to me. So that's why global load balancer is smart enough that it always um, look for the traffic. I mean the source of the traffic, and then it forwards this traffic or forward the user request closest to the user's location backend service, right? And one more thing that I wanted to tell you here, you can see that your IP address, right? Here is your IP address is 35 something, but this is not my IP address. This is not my IP address, right? I told you, right? When we talk about global load balancer, what happened when the traffic, let's say, let me draw something here. Uh, let's say uh, this is your load balancer. Okay, this is your global load balancer. Okay, and this is your internet, and here is the user. When the user is sending the request, so this is whatever IP that let's say user is sending the request from his laptop, right? From his laptop, and it the user laptop IP can be of anything, right? So once the traffic is coming from the internet to the Google Load Balancer, the traffic gets terminated here. Now Google Load Balancer sends the traffic to your backend service with their own IP range, right? So it breaks the session in two parts. First part is the client IP to your global load balancer, and the second part is going to be from global load balancer to the backend service. These IP has certain IP ranges that Google maintain it, and then the That's why we call it proxy, right? The real meaning of proxy is that it breaks the traffic, right? It breaks the traffic. Now the traffic is coming from Google Cloud, I mean, sorry, Global Load Balancer own IP range to your backend service, and that is the reason the IP address is getting changed, right? You understood? This is very simple, right? And there are two things which I want you to understand. The first thing is that the global load balancer is very smart and sending the request closest to my region. The second thing, the sessions, the IP address that is going through the backend service is not the original client IP. It is the IP that is maintained by the Google. Now, how now now, if I try to access global load balancer IP from, let's say, from US central region, then what happens? Let's try to do that. Let's create a VM. I would say, let's create a VM here in US central. I will say client central. Make it this. Um, this is just for the testing. If I give this IP to someone sitting in the US, and if you try to access from this US region, then it is going to land on the web 2. The traffic is going to be land on web 2. But just to prove that, I have to launch this VM in central region, so that I will log into this VM and try to hit this global load balancer IP from this central from this client, right? Just quickly SSH to it. Copy my, where is my load balancer? Okay, this is my load balancer IP. Just wait for a second. Now try to curl. Now, can you see that? The traffic is serving from US Central, right? This time the traffic is serving from US Central. It is not it is not forwarding your request to Asia South. I mean the Delhi region. So global load balancer is very smart. A global load balancer understand like where the traffic is originating and where to forward the traffic. If the backend service available to that region, it will forward the traffic to the closest region. So that's how it works because of the anycast IP attached to the global load balancer. All right, uh, so this proves that, and here also one more thing. If you see this IP address is not the original client IP. It is the IP. If you look at uh, how do we check what is my IP? Okay, anyways, just leave it. I just wanted to let you know that this IP is not the original IP. This is the IP that Google's maintain it. All right. So this is what about the load balancer, Google Cloud application load balancer. Okay. So the load balancer are essential tool for improving the performance and your reliability. You can scale your web server and the security of your application, because your application is not directly exposed to the internet. And Google Cloud offers a variety of load balancing, and this is one of the load balancing specific to the application load balancer. And in this video, we talked about global load balancer application. We deployed the global load balancer with the unmanaged instance group. In the next video, we will deploy the same architecture but with the managed instance group, and there we will also see the URL path. I mean the path-based load balancing, or maybe name-based load balancing. So what we're going to do, we will first create a video which will be focused on path-based load balancing, and then after that we will create a load balancer, global load balancer with the managed instance group, where I will show you how the auto scaling and all these uh, things works. All right, so that's it for now. I hope you enjoying this video. If you like this, please subscribe my channel and share it with the others. Thank you. Take care.